Third, Z-Chat. Travis Thomas here with Z George Balekji. How you doing, my friend?
Oui, comment allez-vous? How are you? I don't know what the Z was if you're going French. I'm doing good. Just laid the points, 9.5. Celtics are laying game one against the Pacers. Literally, as you were just coming in, I was like, I like it.
We were talking about this. You're laying the points. So you're laying the points.
I just think if there's a game on 5 days rest and before Halliburton knows what comes his way, maybe I'm giving Joe Mazzulla too much credit.
Maybe. Well, what do you all think? That's what we want to know. 617-790-0928. Hit us up on the hotline per usual. Also, send us your tweets. You know we get to them in every single show. We're going to do that, as always, today. But top stories we're going to be talking about. Of course, we're breaking down the Eastern Conference Finals in depth. We're going deep on this. We'll get you ready for Game 1 tonight. We're all fired up. You hear George is already gambling plays on the game. He's firing those off. Plus, the Rook meets the GOAT. We'll hear what Tom Brady said to Drake May. And now that the season is over for the Bruins, you know what, George? It'll be a good time to pass out some awards for the Bees. So we'll do that in this program as well. But let's start, like we always do, with Get This Off of My Chest. G. Beezy, what you got for me?
Tonight, the Celtics start the Eastern Conference Finals. 6th time in the last 8 years they've been here. What's important is they don't mess around with an inferior Pacers team. That shouldn't even be here. But luckily for them, they had a Knicks team that was literally depleted and had 4 actual NBA players left by the time it came down to Game 7 in New York. For the Celtics, just go in, do your business, and get the F out of Indiana.
Yeah.
This series shouldn't go more than 5. It shouldn't go more than 4. It should be a sweep. We've seen the letdowns. We know the Pacers have the ammunition to keep up with your scoring. But for you as a team, while the West between the Mavs and the Timberwolves battle it out and beat the hell out of each other with physicality, get in, get to Indiana, and get out of there. And most importantly, don't push the series and make it cuter than it has to be. Because last thing you need is Kristaps Porzingis coming back before you really need him to, because you need that guy as rested and recovered in time for the finals. So I just want to give that last parting message to the Celtics. We've seen you guys with the letdowns throughout the regular season. We've seen in Game 2, the first 2 playoff series so far this year. This Pacers team can score better than those other teams, can't defend worth a lick. They're you guys who you see every time, just with no defense. Just go in, get the sweep, get out. But I have zero faith in that, Trav.
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there. I couldn't disagree with George more for certain points of that, so we'll break that down. But we want to hear from you, too.
Can't wait for that.
617-790-0928. It wouldn't be Boston has entered the chat if we don't disagree a little bit, but it also wouldn't be Boston has entered the chat without you. So hit us on the hotline. Send us your tweets as well. Okay, so let's get into this. I agree with you, obviously, that the Celtics should and will win this series. Let's start there. I do not see a sweep here. I don't. I don't
see one either.
You're saying they should sweep. Okay, I don't believe that.
This is going to go 6.
This is where we disagree. So I do agree that the Celtics should win the series, right? I believe it will go 6. You're saying it in a joking tone, like it's going to go 6. It should be a sweep. I'm saying it's going 6 because I'm giving more credit to the Pacers. Now, let me take away first from the Celtics before I give the Pacers credit. Here's where they drive all of us nuts, and we know what it is, and this is why George is saying what he's saying, that it should be a sweep, but we know that it won't. They are due for at least one stinker in every series. The Heat had no business being on the floor with the Celtics. I mean, look, I like the Cavs, but with their injuries, when those injuries happened, they had no business being on the floor with the Celtics. And a lot of these games were closer than we thought they should be. Fair enough. But they did give you a clunker in each series and lost one. I believe you're going to get that quintessential Celtic where they give you a clunker, and the Pacers deserve some credit here. I think because of the style in which they play, very Celtic-like, they'll shoot the lights out and get a win. So I'm seeing 2. The Celtics clunker for a win for the Pacers, and then the Pacers just being really good. Now, here's why I have respect for the Pacers. And it's not that stupid in-season tournament nonsense. Because remember when they played LeBron for that, I was like, who cares about this thing? But since then, we'll call it, once we got to the postseason, I've seen a team really stay true to their identity, George. I think there's something to be said for that. I think if your style, like the Pacers, is up and down, up tempo, get a ton of threes up, and you don't play defense, obviously if you want to be considered a serious contender, which I don't really believe anyone outside of Indy feels that way about this team, you have to, I don't know, play a skosh of defense a little bit, and they don't. But what I will respect about them is they are true to their identity. It's almost like they own it. Yeah, no, we don't play defense, but we're going to outscore your tail, right? It's almost like the football team that doesn't play defense, but they put 35 up every week. And then on a really good week, they could drop damn near a 50 burger on you. That's what the Pacers are. They're a high-flying offense. They can get buckets, and they don't play defense. And it is what it is, but that's who they are. So I say all that to say the Celtics, we know, are capable of playing defense when they lock in on it. There will be times in this series where they do that. They will win the series, but I do believe there will be a game where even playing good defense and even shooting well, the Celtics could have a really good game across the board when you look at the metrics, and they could still lose because the Pacers are that talented. Tyrese Halliburton going into Madison Square Garden in a Game 7, I can't get over this. 26 points, he led the way. He was trash-talking fans. Did you see he had a Reggie Miller hoodie on doing the chokes? I mean, this kid, they are not intimidated by the Celtics at all. In fact, I guarantee you, with that veteran coach of theirs who knows a thing or two about winning in this league, a champion, they're ready for this series. They ain't backing down from anyone. And I understand the cockiness of Celtics fans right now. I do understand it, but careful with it because this is not a team that's going to look up at the Celtics. They are saying we deserve to stand right here toe-to-toe with you, mano a mano. And I do believe, I know a lot of people say, well, the Celtics, they haven't been tested yet. They're about to get tested. They're not going to lose the series. I don't think we're going 7, okay? But I do think this is going to be a very competitive 6-game series win for the Celtics.
You're saying all 6 games you think will be close? Relatively. I'm not saying they're like 5-point games.
Okay, let's bring everyone in here since everyone's our co-host. So this is what we were talking about behind the curtain before the show started. And I said, man, you look at this betting line on this game tonight. I mean, 9.5, 10 points, 9 points, depending where you look. And George's first inclination was, I'd lay the points. And I was like, man.
Because this is a team that plays one half of the floor.
Right.
You have to be great on both ends of the floor to even keep up with the Celtics. And the Pacers are the worst defensive team.
They are.
There's 4 teams left before they even got to that point.
Yes.
Out of the 16 playoff teams, they have the 3rd worst defense. And this is after playing a Bucks team without Giannis Antetokounmpo. Right. He didn't even have points, no Damian Lillard.
Right.
Playing a New York Knicks team, which credit to Tyrese Halliburton, what he did in Game 7 in Madison Square Garden. By the time the Knicks got to Game 7, they were a lifeless corpse. Jalen Brunson couldn't even finish a game because he broke his hand, let alone the guys that you had were on one leg, or just weren't playing at all because they were injured and out of it. Bogdanovich, Mitchell Robinson, obviously Julius Randle, it's been all season. But still, the Pacers are a team that the fastest pace remaining in the playoffs, use the least amount of shot clock needed to get their shots off, even run it in transition after an opponent's make. They want to get out, get into a track race, run you off the floor.
That's what the Celtics do.
Right? Exactly. But the Celtics at least have that elite defense on the other end. It's all discipline to the Celtics for me. Why I like them in Game 1, and why I think it won't be close, isn't the home court advantage, which that does play into it, though. This is a Celtics team that's rested.
Yeah.
That's had time to prepare. Can't believe I'm saying it. Joe Mazzulla putting something together for Tyrese Halliburton.
Well, that's a question, right?
Doubling him off a pick and roll, doubling him off screens, throwing these physical wings at him.
You're saying that because he's had time to prepare?
Yeah. Now, from a Game 1 to Game 2 with the day in between.
Carlisle.
Yeah. Feel me on that?
I do feel you on that. Here's my thing. So I was talking about the Pacers staying true to their identity, and I actually appreciate that about them. They've gone against...
Although you appreciate they just like, we're going to score.
That's what
F defending.
But, okay, so let me stay there for a second before I read you these numbers, right? I think a lot of times in sports, this just as an NBA, this is sports across the board. This is a broader convo, if you will. I think a lot of the issues are identity crisis. I think teams don't know who they are. Now, early in the season, that's one thing. But when you get to postseason, I don't give a damn what sport you are. If nothing else, you should know who you are, your personnel, your coaching staff, the pulse, the personality of your team, right? Oftentimes, teams that get bounced in the playoffs can't figure it out. Are we defensive? Are we offensive? Are we a well-balanced team? Is our coach hard-nosed? Do we take on the personality of the coach? Is our coach too reserved? So we're quiet. This has been the issue sometimes with the Celtics. You stand around and you wait on Jason Tatum to be demonstrative, to take over a game, to be the alpha. And what happens? We know the rest of that story. But then when Tatum is, they look like they could win a title. Yeah. No Shaq, Sherlock. That's the issue sometimes. We don't really know what's going on. When Ime was here, it was defense. Calling card. Got it. Since Missoula's been here, it's like, well, okay, they shoot a lot of threes. Well,
shoot a lot of threes,
well, they
defend.
do play defense too. Well, I'm saying the Pacers have said the hell with it. This is what we do. What George just described perfectly was exactly who they are. They're like, look, man, we're playing pickup basketball out here. Forget the defense. We're going to get the ball and run your arse off and put buckets in the hole. That's what they're going to do. Now, this is what I was going to say. So they beat the Bucks first round. I don't put a lot of stock into that with the injuries they had, obviously. But a couple of those games, high scoring, 125, 121, 126. Here's the key. When you got to the Knicks series, everyone thought, and I hear you on the injuries, but everyone thought, hey, Knicks are going to slow this down. They're going to play defense on these boys. They're going to shut them down. I'm not saying who won or lost. Just listen to these numbers. I mean, they put up 121, 116, 130, 117. They're still putting up numbers. They're still putting up points. This is who they are. This is why I'm saying, could you not see, with what we've seen from this Boston Celtics team all year long, regular season, postseason, them being in a game where they play Pacer style because we're better at it, instead of realizing, if we just actually lock in on defense, we could sweep this team. I could see the Celtics falling into this trap of, well, we can outscore you better than you can outscore us. That's a mistake. I think, Joe Mazzulla, as you talk about adjustments and different things like that, it needs to be defensive. It needs to be, hey, guys, I understand we can run and shoot and score with the best of them. But in this series, because if we get to the NBA Finals, we're going to have to get a stop. We're going to have to lock people down. It's easier to lock down teams that don't have their damn stars. I mean, we're not talking X's and O's here. We're talking Jimmys and Joes. And if Jimmy and Joe is hurt, you can lock down the rest of these substitute teachers you've been playing against. But the Pacers have real players here. So I want to see the Celtics come in with the mentality of, we're going to lock these dudes down. We're going to play real championship-level defense. If they do that, we could be looking at a dominant series. Sweep, 5, whatevs. I don't believe that's the case. I haven't seen anything.
They haven't done it.
That's
I don't
what
think
I
it's
mean.
going to be the case
that's
either.
my point. So I'm saying I see the Celtics coming in with the cockiness.
Yeah.
They're us, but we're better than them. Let's show them how it's done. They're going to lose a couple games like that.
Yeah. Well, they're also going to lose the games if they're just disinterested when it's the other team's night. Compared to a Knicks team where we've seen these battles between the Knicks and the Pacers.
Yeah.
Where what fans loved about that Knicks team was win-loss, they play their asses off until the end.
That's right.
Win-loss, Celtics, and a loss, nothing's been close. And the wins, they've been winning by 18.5 points a game. In the losses, it's been double digits too. Because the Heat and the Cavs having their night. But yeah, what they'll come out defensive is how they can match up with Tyrese Halliburton. And Pascal Siakam, as a bigger wing and a physical guy and the leading scorer for the Pacers too, coming over midseason at the trade deadline, has been their guy. Tyrese Halliburton is also someone that's dealt with the drop-off in his play since the All-Star break. This is a guy averaging almost 22 a night before the break on 49 and 40
MVP
shooting.
for him, remember?
I know, right? Then he dropped off 17, 45, and 30. 45 and 30 splitting shoots. Shooting splits. But with the bodies that the Celtics team has, and it's not only their defense, but it's how the offense feeds into it. If it's Drew Holiday backing down and posting up on Tyrese Halliburton, if it's Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum attacking him, getting downhill on him, if it's Derek White, same thing, outside, inside, taking him to the rim, being big and physical with him.
Yeah.
And then this is a team, again, has the size where a guy like Obi Toppin, good athlete, but doesn't have the fundamentals or skills where he's really going to pose much of a problem. And again, their defense can take over at that point for them. This is just a Celtics team. Yeah, they'll look at the Pacers and they'll come in with arrogance and ego. Celtics will win game 1. They're going to drop 2 games in this series. Now, one of those I give it where it's like I chalk it up to Rick Carlisle stealing a game from Joe Mazzulla. I chalk it up to these Pacers shooters stealing a game because they have the depth and the bodies and the pieces and talent to make it happen. But this Pacers team as a whole, don't get it twisted. Just as we've seen the Celtics get to this point in the playoffs, they faced an awful hurt Heat team, an awful hurt Cavs team. Well, that's what the Pacers did through the Bucks and through the Knicks as well, where they got run to the ground. And the Knicks were the second worst remaining defense in the playoffs, behind only or in front of only the Pacers themselves. It was just the battle, the war of attrition, which it always is. Who's healthy when it comes to this part of the postseason?
Sure.
This Celtics team is so talented. But that's why, you know what Boston is right now?
What?
Boston, as a city, is the most anxious contender in all of pro sports.
Explain.
Because these fans have seen it happen 2 years ago in 6 games against the finals. Jason Tatum, getting injured, but shrinking in the moment. Last year in the Eastern Conference Finals, going down to a Heat team who took you to 7 when it really should have been a series that's closed down 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. And now it's a team that comes out, will play uninspired against awful teams, and you're beating them, but it's not tested. And when are you going to get woken up? Mm-hmm. They'll get woken up in the finals. Mm-hmm. This is an anxious city because they've seen the song and dance before from Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And it is to the point for those guys, are they going to wake up? Now, just like the Celtics treated Darius Garland and Tyler Hero, hunting them for them off pick and rolls, off switches, if whoever has the ball isn't guarded by either one, call that guy over and let's make something happen and get them into the mix and just keep attacking them.
Right.
And what gives this Celtics offense such a threat is the layers of attackers they have where you never know who's going to take the shot in any given possession.
Sure.
That's the beauty of it. And the playmaking for Jason Tatum. But if the Celtics go out, take high-quality shots, play disciplined defense, don't let any trailing threes happen, make Tyrese Halliburton go ISO or step-back threes instead. Exactly, that's what it is. Being on your P's and Q's. We'll get that in game 1. We'll get it in game 2. Will we get a game 3? That's when the ego comes into play like you're talking about.
And they're on the road.
They could be playing in a Walgreens parking lot. I don't care. They could be playing on their home court, wherever they're from. These guys, they just lose that attention to detail and their attention span because of how good they are.
Man.
It is taking it for granted. This, like Trev, we're talking about the series going 5 or 6. It should be, how does this not go 4? And it won't go 4 because of the Celtics.
Right.
And this is where the anxiety comes from for the Celtics fans. They won't win a championship because of them. It's on there on paper. We've seen it for 64 wins in the regular season. We've seen it an entire season as a piece. Even without Kristaps Porzingis.
Sure.
They were still the best team in the playoffs. Can they make it happen against the Pacers? I don't. Yes, they will. Can they make it happen in the finals? I don't know. And it goes into, you even said, do we see Kristaps in this? I mean, he was targeting next month, as in June. And the Eastern Conference Finals will finish up June 1st on the dot if it goes to 7.
I need him back into this series.
I don't rush him back.
I want him back into the series.
I don't rush him back. I don't rush him back.
I need you. Here's why. I see. I don't even know if it's rushing him per se. I just want him to get some time. I don't need you. I don't want to put all the pressure on the guy. Lord forbid they go 7 games here, and it's like, oh, we got to roll out Porzingis. I would rather the Celtics be in control of the series, and you play him to get his legs under him, quite literally. You give him some minutes.
Fine. And Kristaps said himself, for me, it's all about getting out there, recovering at a historic rate.
Right.
I'm going to recover at a historic rate. I am at a historic rate. Buddy, no one believes that. You're saying someone that's been injury plagued their entire career, 25 plus games missed in the regular season, like clockwork. You're going to have a better recovery than this injury, this calf strain that's plagued guys like Kevin Durant, played kept Giannis Antetokounmpo out of the playoffs. It's no one that plays harder than him, right? And we've seen it all across leagues with the capture and how it can linger. That's where this historic rate. Just get them ready to the playoffs. If you get 2 good games out of them, great. That's when you need them. You don't need them in this one. But I understand ease them back in. You have to get in game shape one way or the next.
Yeah.
It's the most skeptic series preview because this Pacers team, what at least they do right, what the Heat and Cavs couldn't do, they can score and keep up with the Celtics. And when you get them on those nights when the defense looks lost out there, like what are you guys doing? Not closing out on 3-point shots, leaving guys open from the arc, and this is a team that can shoot, this is where they scare you. And that's where they can steal a game or two. And then the Celtics are going to make it a lot cuter than it needs to be.
Okay, all right, so we both like the Celtics tonight. I like the Celtics
Have
in
you ever
6.
heard anyone more pessimistic?
No, I don't think you're pessimistic. I think
am.
at times
I sound like a jerk.
Now, here's where I will call you pessimistic, and I have on this very program.
Thank you.
Closeout nights, everyone's woo! Bring on the next victim. And George is like, yeah, but I mean, please, you beat blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's appropriately pessimistic at that time because, you're stating the obvious, right? But I think in general, you just call it how you see it, and it's fair. We all understand they beat up these beat-up teams.
You have to grow and learn and catch some licks through the playoffs.
A good point to you, too. The Pacers have done the same thing.
If they get to the finals,
they're going.
And they win in 4, 5, 6, 7 games, I don't give a damn.
Facts.
You got there and you won it.
No one will ever look back and say, well, you beat this team and you beat that team and they didn't have their stars. Who cares? Just win the title.
You know what that ring is if you beat a bunch of hurt teams? It's a ring.
Yeah, it's still a ring.
It's a ring.
A ring is a ring. All right, I'm going Celtics in 6. Official prediction. Celtics in what? 5?
6. I hate being the same as you.
6. All right.
I can't say 7.
No, come on.
But I can't after the run I just went on. I can't come out here and be like Celtics in 5. It should be Celtics in 4.
It should be Celtics in 3.
You know what?
And the Pacers wave the white flag and say, no mas.
I got you. It should be Celtics in 4. And my gut says Celtics in 6. So I'm going Celtics in 5. I'm meeting myself in the middle.
You guys see what I deal with here. If you do, please call me. 617-790.
You personally?
0928.
That is your personal cell.
No, yeah. Call my personal hotline at 617-790-0928. Also, send us your tweets. We'll get to that in a minute. But, I guess us talking about the gambling, game 1, what the line is, I started looking at this. How about the odds for the NBA champs? Celtics, of course, the favorite, minus 150, George. Next favorite, though, Timberwolves, plus 270. Mavericks plus 500, Pacers 28-1, so the longest of long shots.
Dude, that's absurd. A Final Four team is 28-1 to win the finals. They should be like 12-1 at worst. 28-1.
Vegas never, I don't think, showed the Pacers any respect. If it's the Bucks we're talking about here and they're healthy, that's a different conversation. If it's Joel Embiid, it's a different conversation. But the Pacers, nah.
It just shows that the different level the Celtics are on the rest. But the Celtics, Timberwolves, Mavericks, because even think about the firepower the Mavericks have and Luka and Kyrie and then the role players behind them.
Sure.
The Pacers are just a bad team that fell their way through a bad East.
Yeah.
Fell their way into the conference finals. That's what that number tells me.
Okay, so obviously I'm voting Celtics here if I was betting this. And I'll be honest, I was looking at these numbers. One of the reasons I would bet the Celtics to win this is because I do believe Jason Tatum has entered the chat. We talked about this during the Cavs series. It took him a while, but he showed up. Yep. And when he showed up, he showed out. Listen to this. Jason Tatum's numbers against the teams left in the field, okay? We understand against the Pacers, it's a larger sample size, 4 games. He averaged 33 points, 11 boards, and 6 dimes per game. Mm-hmm. Listen to this uptick against both the Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks. Now, the Timberwolves are regarded as some great defensive team, right? In 2 games, granted 2 games, but in 2 games against the T-Wolves, 39 points, 5 boards, 3 steals per game. In 2 games against Dallas, who I actually believe they'll play in the finals, 36 points, 10 boards, 4 assists per game. This guy has terrorized every team left in this thing. I also think we're not having the same conversations around Jason Tatum that we were. When's he going to show up? Why is he so passive? Now he's here. So I'm going to imagine and give him the benefit of the doubt that moving forward, we're going to see the same Jason Tatum we have been seeing where we left off, right?
We'll see it against the Pacers who can't defend.
Okay, well, I'm just saying. I just gave you the numbers against the other teams out west, too.
And keep in mind, I mean, the T-Wolves did beat the Celtics, and that was with Anthony Edwards taking Jason Tatum's lunch on a closing possession in this one.
Listen.
That's a guy that could bring the fight.
We're not talking about moments. We're talking about the numbers. Okay? Just stick to the metrics.
I'll talk numbers with you on Jason Tatum going out and not scoring. And you saying, but they're winning. And I go, Travis, I get it. But he's not playing well. And again, the Celtics, if you want to win this and Kristaps Porzingis comes back, you need your best player to take you as far as he can. And what did Jason Tatum do? Because it was after that, it was actually after the Game 1 win where he had 18 points, but was shooting 36% from the floor, went 0 for 5 from 3, right? Game 2, they lose. I don't care. He follows that up with 3 games, 33 points, 44% from the floor, 2 for 8 from 3. But 33, 13 rebounds, 6 assists. That's him playing better than he was when he went 18-11 and 5, or 20-11 and 5 in the first round, or 22-11 and 6. 33, 13 and 6. Then game 4, 33-11 and 5. Game 5, the closeout, 25, 10 and 9, 3 for 7 from 3, 56% from the floor. That's a Jason Tatum you need. Yeah. And that's why when Peyton Pritchard would come out and go, you know, if you guys think he's playing bad, you're casual. No, Peyton, he's playing bad.
Right.
Because if these are great games, those last 3 games of the series, what are the first
facts?
Right? 7 games you saw in the playoffs.
He wasn't shooting well either. Yeah.
He's playing great. He's not playing great. He played great the last 3.
Yeah, but
that's my Jason Tatum. Bro, like that's a Jason Tatum you need.
You would bet on them in this grouping though, or would you sprinkle in the Timberwolves?
How do you not? Even Dallas with that front court and the role players for both teams that are following up, right? Because Minnesota has Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. And say what you want about Cat, he figured out how to play defense. Say you want about Rudy Gobert. But if Kristaps Porzingis comes back, that's a guy strong enough. Caleb Martin was pushing Kristaps Porzingis off his spot in the first round. What will Rudy Gobert do to him? Karl Anthony Towns. But then it's the Jaden McDaniels that you could throw at a Tatum or Brown. The Naz Reid coming in off a bench that could still stretch the floor, shoot the threes, and be an elite defender and rebounder and athlete. Again, match up with these bigger guys. Then you have the Cat and Goberts. And then if you're the Dallas Mavericks, it would Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, where Kyrie didn't have to be scoring, getting buckets, Kyrie. Just plays role, play a lead defense. Hit big shots you need, including a 3 that made it a lead late in the game, which they needed. But then the Daniel Gaffords, the Derek Jones Jr.'s, the P.J. Washingtons, where we saw Washington go 29, 27, 21 in points in games, 2 through 4 in that series. They have the toughness and the size to really make it difficult around the paint. And if these Minnesota defenders show up in Jason Tatum's face and start pushing him off and he's hitting those step-back threes, all that BS, why would you not take Minnesota?
Well,
Celtics have the experience. Minnesota and Dallas, they have the defense. Again, what do I say? Top 5 both ends of the floor? That's what these two teams
and they all have stars, too. We're talking all this and breaking all this down on Hold My Banner. Check out the full episode on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to follow us on all your social media accounts for all of our best content. In fact, let's get to Twitter, shall we? Because we asked you for your tweets. You send them in. Fans are fired up. They're fired up for the Celtics here. So let's get into it. Kyrie Irving against the Celtics NBA Finals would feed families for generations.
How has that not crossed my mind yet? That'll be Kyrie back stomping.
Oh, the storylines galore. I mean, think about Luka and Tatum looking for legacy rings. Obviously, Kristaps Porzingis against his old team.
That Garden crowd against Kyrie, fantastic, would be all time.
2 major markets, 2 coaches who used to play, who had big personalities. The tweets kept rolling in. Here's Megan who says, let's do a Celtics Timberwolves Finals and call it the Kevin Garnett games, because that sounds fun. I don't hate it.
No matter what, he'll be cheering on. Yeah.
Being
his
he's gonna be hyped for both.
KG psycho tough guy.
Yeah.
Talking all the smack.
Yeah. And you know what?
You know what?
That's okay.
You know what's great? He's gonna have a free ticket to every game in the finals. Sit
should.
courtside.
What would the T-Wolves
But
be
what does
without
he
him?
wear? All black.
Yeah, you got to go neutral there. Tweets kept rolling in here. Kevin Garnett, if the Celtics and Timberwolves meet in the finals. I mean, you know
I
what?
have
Good
no
for
words.
KG. Good for KG. What would the Timberwolves be without him besides absolutely nothing? And then obviously he's a beloved Celtic.
For the listeners, that's an image of Zendaya in the new
we're
movie.
going with this tweet. Thank you very much.
Challenger or whatever. Thank God. Thank you, producer Brendan.
Thank you. All right, I want to go to when Drake May met the GOAT. It's like when Harry met Sally. When Drake May met the GOAT. So we've all seen the picture by now. Drake May and Tom Brady had an opportunity to meet one another. And then Tom Brady gave some advice not only to Drake May, but to all the incoming rookies. So this is from Michael Rubin's account. And I guess it was him, Tom Brady, and Jay-Z, all with the select incoming rookies of the NFL. And Tom Brady and Jay-Z were dropping gems. Take a listen to this.
When you have 53 guys on the team and you think it's about you, it ain't about you, it's about us. And the biggest problem I see with a lot of the young players today, you guys are making it too much about I and me because of social media, because of branding and all that. It's fine, you're not gonna win. There was a difference between being a star and being a champion.
Your talent gets you there. You know, your work ethic and your discipline takes you to where you want to be.
Every day of practice is important. You know why? Because when I was on the Patriots and we had 20 years winning, every day was a big day. I treated a preseason game, I treated a regular season like it was a Super Bowl. So when I got to the Super Bowl, it was just another day for me.
You got to know who you are because those moments going to come. You're going to be down 28-0. You got to say, all right, I know who I am. I'm going to go get it.
Crazy.
It was 28-3, Jay-Z.
I'm the biggest Jay-Z fan. Like, Jay-Z's my favorite rapper of all time.
I like
all
that.
time. I don't need him. I'm cool with him being there. I don't need Jay-Z talking to me if I'm some rookie stud.
What?
Talking about some damn, you're going to be down 28-0. It's how bad do you want it? Jay, you're here. That's enough, right? Just let Tom run this. Tom knows a thing or two about the thing that we do. If I was at a rap convention as a rookie, I want to hear from Jay. But guess what? I would tell Tom, sit this one out, brother. But you're here. You're the GOAT. We get it. But I want to hear from Jay. Jay, you got to know time and place. Just be there. Show your support. Take pictures. Shake hands. You know what I mean? Talk music with the kids. Yeah, you don't got to do this. And he got the score wrong. He got the score wrong.
So you would take the $500K over dinner with Jay-Z.
I would take the
Which is the
$500K over
choice.
dinner with any damn
Yeah,
body.
that's a choice there. I mean, I love that advice of saying, like, it's okay, you're not going to win. It's at the end of treating every game like the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's taking every practice serious. And for these guys, I mean, they got to go out and figure out how to play football as a rookie, first off, right?
Sure.
But if you treat every practice like it's your last, treat every game, I'm talking preseason too, and every practice, forget it, why not? Like it's an actual game, then that gets them mentally into that rhythm, into that routine, and they know how to lock in and be focused when they're actually playing and their real job comes along. And that goes into the preparation. Like when Tom Brady's talking about practice, it's not just how he applies himself on the literal practice field, but it's prep even as a backup. So talking to guys like Drake May, start preparing and acting and carrying yourself like a starting quarterback right now. And for those guys, it's like you're in the league. Once you're drafted, you're there. You're the face of a franchise. So don't wait until the games start rolling. I just love that advice. And I think that's great. It's Drake May. It was Jaden Daniels. It was Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Malik Neighbors from the Giants. I think it was Brock Bowers I saw too from the Las Vegas Raiders in that as well. It's all these rookies, and you're learning from the greatest to ever do it. And it was all about Brady wasn't the most talented. It was all about prep for him and IQ.
Let's talk Drake May's peers, just the quarterbacks. Where do you sort of see him falling when the smoke clears on his rookie season amongst them? Let's talk this out together. We both agree Caleb is a cut above, yes? I mean, we felt that way on draft night.
Caleb's clearly the best.
Okay.
J.J. McCarthy's in the best situation.
Okay. Do you think Drake May, numbers-wise, and we'll see how many games he ends up playing, I'm going to go ahead and put Jaden Daniels above him because we know he's going to be a number one starter, right? So we're talking if that's the case,
Yeah.
we have Caleb, Jaden Daniels, and J.J. McCarthy all ahead of him in terms of rookie year output.
Yep.
I mean, are we in a Bo Nix? Bo Nix is going to be starting too, right? He's going to beat out Zach Wilson.
For Denver team without any really good receiver.
He's going to play more games than
but with
Drake
Sean
May, right?
Payton. I would bet Bo Nix steps in.
But I'm saying better rookie year than Drake May. Yes?
Drake May, when you're going with because those guys are starting. Daniels.
Right.
JJ, Caleb starting. Nix will probably play, 12, maybe 10 games
I
as
would
a starter.
think so.
Drake May, the schedule, how it lays out for the team is interesting because it can be like 8 weeks in, they have 2 wins, and the fans are clamoring. Robert Kraft is going, what's going on?
Right.
And they feel the pressure to play him. That's one thing I would push Drake May, but he's not ready yet. And again, it's the situations for the guys. With the Commanders, that's a better wide receiver room than the Patriots. With the Vikings, obviously it's the best wide receiver room in the NFL and a better offensive line. The Bears, better wide receiver room, better offensive line.
Yeah.
The Broncos, better coaching
Sean
situation.
Payton, yeah.
Sean Payton, exactly. Michael Penix, you're sitting behind Kirk Cousins, but shoot, who knows what happens with Kirk Cousins, his recovery. Penix can play, and if he does, again, that wide receiver room, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts,
Sure.
Bijan Robinson,
Right.
right?
Yeah. I mean,
Drake May's in the worst situation of the rookie quarterbacks roster and talent-wise.
I don't think Penix plays, so if nothing else, he won't be at the Drake May won't be at the bottom of the barrel. Penix will literally have zeros across the board this season, if I had to guess.
But say if one injury changes it, and you can say it's for any of these guys, but between Drake and Penix, week 2, Jacoby goes out and gets hurt. Week 2,
Right.
Kirk Cousins gets hurt.
Sure.
Michael Penix is in a better situation,
He's ready.
and
Yeah,
he's more pro-ready
more
than Drake
pro-ready.
May. He's the best passer in this entire draft.
sure.
Michael Penix, Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, they're the most pro-ready right now, and then Jaden Daniels. Bo Nix, Drake May, those are the guys that are bigger projects.
Jesus, you're not making me feel good about Drake May.
It's situation. It's more than talent.
I came into the segment with the Tom Brady picture feeling great.
Mahomes had to sit. Jordan Love had to sit.
Fair.
Tom Brady sat, but he was a different story. It was
That was a whole
199
different-
pick.
yeah.
Brock Purdy sat.
Facts. All right, now let's skate to the ice here because, as you know, George, I'm very upset, as all of us are, with the Bruins season being over.
Hey, smile because it happened.
Well, that's fair, and I think it's the right time to give them their flowers. Let's give out some superlatives.
Cool.
Now, I remember you and I have done this exercise before in the past, and if I'm not mistaken, you won a superlative in high school that was like something like most likely to succeed or nicest. What was it exactly, George?
I finished second for best friends. You knew I didn't win that. Piece of...
Best friends, BFFs forever.
What did you win? What's superlative?
I didn't like mine. Well, I liked
What
one
was
of
yours?
mine.
Biggest
I got
class-
2.
biggest
class
flirt?
clown, which
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
You didn't like biggest flirt?
Nah, I didn't like that.
Because it ruins your game on the street.
It's because I'm straight-laced, George. No
Yeah.
messing around with me.
All right.
Now, let's get into the Bruins. Superlatives, Rookie of the Year. Where are you going?
I'm going Matty Patra.
Okay.
Very small sample size. But this guy showed he can anchor a line and be a top 3 center for the Bruins, which is huge at just the age of 19. But, again, just 19, his body couldn't hold up. Went to the World Juniors, played for Team Canada, did well for them. But he had 5 goals and 11 points his first 2 months. It was a key piece in that 14-1-3 start the Bruins had to the season. Just what we saw with that flash in a pan from Matty Patra for a team that needs a center and needs center depth to be better down the middle. When you have a Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle there, if Patra comes back 20 years old, recovered, body ready because he had to get shoulder surgery, he's a great piece, and I think he had a great part of his rookie year. We didn't see someone put it all together all season long, which is very uncommon in the NHL. But I like Patra because of his start. What about you?
I'm going Mason Lohrei. Look,
Great finish.
honestly, he got better as the season went on.
Yep.
It almost felt like he peaked during the playoffs where you got these flashes like, oh, my God, this kid. Some of those goals he was scoring were insane. He had big hits. How many times do we talk about rookie walls, right? Not with him. So I am excited about the future with him. So that's my pick. But I respect yours at the same time. Most improved player. Where are you going there?
Now you respect me.
I do. Now I do. I'll put some respect on your name.
Most improved, I went Pavel Zacha.
Yeah.
And he played great last year with the Bruins.
Yeah.
His first 50-point season of his career, first 20-goal season of his career. Did it again this year. And again, a guy, I think I'm spotlighting the centers because it's so important. Didn't prove himself to be that number one and that playmaker next to Pastrnak because that's the Bruins' biggest need this offseason. But what Zacha did, 59 points in 78 games, huge goal in Game 6 for them when they needed. Just showing that you could show up in a moment. I think that was big for Zacha.
I'm going Charlie Coyle. It felt like moments this season where it was Pasta, Marchie, and Coyle doing all my scoring. And listen, if he could give me more of that in the future, they're going to be in good shape because I believe they're going to add more scoring, right? So I'm going to go Charlie Coyle there. I thought he had a tremendous season. How about unsung hero of the team? Where are you going?
Unsung hero? Give me Trent Frederick. Career high 40 points. And the only guy on this team that'll drop gloves and fight.
Yeah, he will.
Like, he was the enforcer, but also can be a plus guy offensively. They need to go out and get someone that can be the fighter where you don't lose something when they're in the box.
Sure.
But he plays tough, plays a wing well, gave depth to this team. Isn't crazy dynamic, but damn good hockey player.
You're going to look at me sideways, but I'm going Jeremy Swayman. And one of the reasons is because I don't feel as though we gave him his flowers, his due respect until we got to the postseason and he stood on his head. But the reality is, and we go through the numbers all the time, the guy was top-notch all year long. Him both and Linus Ullmark, obviously. But I'm going to go Jeremy Swayman because I want to give him as many awards as possible. Defenseman of the year, where are you going there?
I'm going to go with their best defenseman. That's Charlie McAvoy.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he showed up in the postseason, too.
I don't hate that Mason-Laraie convo.
Yeah.
Because when you see with Laraie, you go, that's the next Charlie McAvoy.
Yeah.
Great skater.
Yeah.
Really good puck handler. Sets guys up for plays. Can make plays beyond the blue line. Shoots if you need to. More of an assist, but just be a playmaker. And I just think what he does 200 feet. Now I'm talking more about Laraie than McAvoy. But I would go McAvoy here. I mean, he's still played well.
He's your best. He's your best defender. I'm going Brandon Carlo because I felt as though he was my most consistent defender all year. I love the consistency. That's what I need. Forward of the year, where are you going? I know where you're going. You're going Pasta.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to do it.
Second straight 100-point season, 63 assists this year. You know what he had? 1.34 points per game average for a team that was scoring 3.2 goals. Literally half of their offense.
Okay. I'm going Brad Marchand, but only because for MVP, spoiler alert, I have Pasta. But I'm going to go Marchie here because, look, this is everything. This is regular season and postseason combined, right? If Marchie does not get hurt, George, could be a different series against the Panthers. So I'm going benefit of the doubt there. I'm going him for my forward of the year. MVP, I'm going Pasta.
I'm going Pastrnak, too. You didn't say I couldn't have someone. You won two superlatives,
You can
right?
go. No, yeah.
David Pastrnak won two, too.
You see what we're doing
You guys got
here?
something in common.
But he likes both of his. I only like one of mine.
But notice how you opened this up. You knew what you were doing. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm a good friend.
I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
go MVP with Pasta. My issue with Brad Marchand forward of the year, and it's tough for me to say anything bad about Brad Marchand, like love him out there on the ice, what he does for his team as a leader. This offense was so bad all year long. Now, you can say the same thing. Pasternak's your MVP, but he was the only guy scoring. He was carrying them.
Right.
They need to go out, find another playmaker to be on the ice with Pastrnak or another playmaker deeper on this roster to go and give depth and give him some relief, especially when it comes time in the postseason. Hockey gets tight. But Pasternak's MVP. He's the best player.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Over 100 points. 60-plus coming from assists, too.
And
the guy played up to the billing.
How about the Game 7 game winner? I mean, the guy, he needs help. You know, like the fans that say, well, you're putting blame on him. It's like, don't blame the one guy who's giving you the scoring. You need to add more to him. That's all it is. Make sure you call us, 617-790-0928 on the hotline. Also, send us your tweets. We are interactive. It is Boston has entered the chat. All of us. So get involved. We talk with you, not at you. It's important we say that.
I like that part to it, too. And plug him with that hotline one more time, too.
Oh, one more time. 617-790-0928.
And you could talk to us, and you could talk at me. I'm cool with that. I want all the smoke, but bring it our way too.
No, talk with me, please, and thank you. For all of our best content of the day, make sure you follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Travis Thomas, George Balekji, who should have won his senior
Thank you.
superlative. He should have won it. I'll
Class
admit
clown
that.
right here.
That's right. That's right. Thank you very much. Boston has entered the chat. Until next time, when we enter it again, we'll see you then. Peace out.